Hi, 3 and 4-year-old leaders. We are preparing for June 23rd. Can you believe that it's already almost the middle of summertime? Thank you so much for leading and building relationships with kids. We are seeing the fruit of that over and over and over again as kids are getting more and more excited to be a part of your groups. So you are very, very much important in their lives, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like you get to see them real regularly. They remember you and they come looking for you. So thank you for leading. This week, we are talking about Israel's first king. Now, as we started back September of last year, we started in Genesis and we're making our way through the Old Testament, seeing God's promise unfold for Jesus to come. And so I think this lesson in particular, you're really going to be able to see some of those things that God helps prepare the Israelites for what to look for when their Savior comes. And so through this lesson, I think you'll see that for sure. Today we're about 20 years past where we ended last week. Last week we talked about how the ark was captured and the Philistines, they all got sick once they took the ark, and so they sent the ark back to the Israelites. And so Samuel has led the Israelites all throughout this time. And he's getting older. And so he looks at his sons and he decides that they are ready, and he's ready for them to be the judges over the Israelites. So he assigns them that job. But as happens many times, we've seen already, and many times in our families as well, they want to do things their way. They don't necessarily want to follow God's laws or God's decrees, or to do things the way their dad did it. And so they begin to do things their way. And one of the things that they wanted after seeing everything around them is they wanted their very own king. The Israelites have never had a king. They've had judges and priests over them, but they've never had a king. And so Samuel goes to God on their behalf and asks God tells God what they're wanting, and God tells them, let them have it. I'm still in control. They're going to figure out that I'm still in control. Let them have a king. And my choice is Saul. Well, if you've studied very much of the rest of the Old Testament, you realize that Saul was not necessarily the best leader. But remember, God was preparing them for Jesus. Right? So we're beginning to see that an earthly king is still not going to have the qualities that we all need so that we can have our Savior King. So, fun lesson. Going to be really cool to begin to introduce that to the kids. Your social activity for the next couple weeks is called Find Your Match. And I hope the kids are beginning to figure this out. I know I watched a group of 4-year-olds this week try to play, and the 4-year-olds are so fun playing these games. And so I'm with the older kids most of the time. I'm usually with like second grade and up, not usually hands-on as much with the younger groups, although I have had to be recently, and I forget how the smaller kids, if you will, are not really competitive yet. Some of them are, but not very many of them. And so it's really fun to begin to play games with them because they're really serious about doing the game and doing it the right way. So I hope you're finding fun in doing this game. This is kind of a categories game. I don't know if you or your kids have ever played it. My kids used to do it at the pool all the time. They'd yell out a category, and then whoever would guess whatever it is, then they jump in the pool, or I don't remember exactly the rules. But anyway, what you're supposed to do is call out a category, and you could say hair color. And all of the people that have dark hair like me are going to stand over here. And all of the people that have red hair are going to stand over here. And all of the people with light brown hair are going to stand over here. So you can choose the different categories, and really it's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to help kids realize that there's differences between all of us, because in our story today, we're hearing about a king that had a whole lot of differences from the people and was not always ruling with their best interest in mind. All right. And then you'll move into your small group time after you do your large group Bible story. And today you're going to play a game like Simon Says. It actually is Simon Says. You just could change the word and say the king says. And so you can have a different king each time to be in charge of telling the people what to do. Now, these activities are supposed to help us relate to the story. So as you're talking about this, you might want to talk to them and say, so would you want to have a king who just told you what to do all the time? Would you want to have a king who makes you do silly things if your kings make you do silly things? And so use this as a discussion starter within your small group so that they're beginning to process that what we're doing relates to the story, and we have kings who do things, and sometimes they do things that we don't like. And so that's the whole purpose of playing a game like this. Your memory verse is the same thing for the whole summer. It's no one is like you, Lord. You are great, and your name is mighty in power. Jeremiah 10:6. And so this is the signs that we have written for this. If you want to do your own, you're more than welcome. You're going to shake your head, and you can use your finger if you want to too. No one is like you, Lord, pointing to God. You are great. And this is the sign for great, like you're going to give a high five. You are great, and your name is mighty in power. That's not the sign for power, but little kids will know what that means. And so you guys can say that over and over a couple times. Sometimes, and once you've done it a few times already, like they've had this memory verse for a couple weeks, sometimes it's good for you to stop talking and let them continue to talk as you do the signs and see if they can fill in the words, especially since this one doesn't have very many words. Then you have a coloring page. And I do realize that these coloring pages are not always best for the littlest of hands, and we understand that. But part of the reason I want to give you these this summer is because on the back of each paper, it tells families exactly what we taught that day and a way that they can use the lesson that we taught today at home. It also has a little link down here at the bottom, and you could do this too as a small group leader. There is an app for Lifeway. We use the Gospel Project, and you can get an app, and you can keep up with all of the stories we're doing. Most of the time, sometimes we're a little off from what they say we're doing, but you can still look it up based on the lesson we're doing, A King for Israel. All right. One other thing, just to let you know really quick, in the summertime, we tend to experience a slump and have fewer people coming. This summer, we're not experiencing that. We are growing every week. We have had, since spring break, we have had an increase of about 40 kids every weekend. And so that's putting us very close, and this is something to celebrate, honestly, close to like 300 kids a weekend on the Parkway Victoria campus. And so if you were thinking that this summer nobody needs me, nobody's going to be there, that's so far from the truth. In fact, I want you to go invite your friends to come serve with you. All I can say is it's a God thing right now. And we are enjoying the ride. We are seeing so many new families come. We are seeing so many kids from so many different kinds of situations come in who need the hope of Jesus and need a local church to love on them and to encourage them in their faith. And so if you know of someone, please reach out to your campus leader and let them know that, hey, I think we should invite so-and-so to come be a part of the team. Please, let's invite them to come be a part of the team. The more people, the merrier. It makes so many things so much more smooth. And I want you to join me in praying that we can add about 10 leaders a weekend. And where we need these leaders the most is we need greeters at the front doors. We need greeters at all doors. And we need lots of extra hands in the check-in team. When people have to wait for a long time to go get their kids all settled in, I'm not sure that that's always the best impression. And so as you're looking at your friends, all of those things don't necessarily mean they have to teach, right? You are good teachers, and if you know other good teachers, we want them too. We need more small group leaders. But where we need the most people right now is on the front end as people are coming in. We want it to be the most welcoming place in the whole world. Thank you for leading. Thank you for loving, and I'll talk to you guys soon.